This is a story I wrote in my senior year of high school, called The Bloodseeker Destiny. The sweet metallic taste burst through my piercing veins. A scream of agony flooded the city, echoing off of buildings nearby. Cause from a vicious spite still resonating throughout my tense body. The adrenaline rush exploded through my veins, wanting to taste more. The lifeless, delicate figure fell limp on the ground. Her crimson red hair splayed against the hard gray concrete like an ancient Chinese hand fan. I felt her pulse slowing down while blood exited her body like a river rushing. Slowly, life fled from her body. I refused to acknowledge that she had a name, because if I did, the powerful idea of me controlling life and death of another human might consume me. It was easier for me just to see her as a feeding rather than a human being. I ran as fast as I could to leave the crime scene so I wouldn't get caught. The voices in my head were conflicted against each other, my human side and my vampire side, trying to coexist in my brain, fighting like little children. "Don't kill her, Crystal," the human part of me spoke. "Kill her, Crystal. She didn't have a great life anyway." The vampire side of me was craving more. The thirst for the thick, scarlet liquid was beyond any earning I have ever experienced. It pulsed through my body like a vibration of a beating drum. It was a dance, sort of, an intense dance of my body to my desire for more blood. It ran hard and fast, as trying to escape the reality of my actions. The aftermath of the power I held slamming my questioning soul. That power of holding life and death in my grasp. Turned in my brain like a warrior spins a sword, sweat beads dance on my brows as my feet pounded on the pavement. Faster and faster I ran, trying to forget the scene I left, trying to forget the pleading look in the woman's eyes as life disappeared from her glaze. Out of breath and distant from the scene, I stopped and rested. Why? Why didn't I keep her alive? I said to myself, hidden in the dark. I sunk to the cold, wet pavement, tears dripping down my cheeks. Shut up, Crystal. You have ultimate power. You can hold life and death in your hands. You can choose who to die and who to live. It's all with the tip of a bite. Can you two shut up? I yelled angrily, my voice bouncing off the alleyway, silently recording the confession I ached to speak. I heard footsteps approaching, splashing like little puddles, like child's play. I froze. I didn't want to be found. I didn't want my dirty secret broadcast in every media outlet like the weather forecast. We found you. Put your hands up. My vampire instincts told me to run as fast as I could, and I just did that. Keep running, Crystal. Keep running. I abruptly stopped, frozen in my tracks. I heard that voice before, but where? Chapter 1. The Past. Everyone at least has one secret swimming in their minds, some more than others. It just so happens I have a few of my own. I want to meet my daughter, Valentina. His eyes were pleading like a puppy longing for dinner leftovers. I want to be with you, he said to me. Crystal doesn't know her father, and she never will, I told him angrily like a cat hissing. I continued, You don't know, Neil. You don't know what I had to deal with, I exclaimed, starting to tear up, remembering the past. My school was a battleground. Werewolves hated the vampires, and for the vampires, the feeling was mutual. My boyfriend, Lucien Valak, would soon be known as my ex-boyfriend. As I was about to break up with him, Lucien had a way of hurting people. Anyone that got in the way of what he wanted. He did not like getting in his way. He hated the word no. I actually had become rather claustrophobic in my relationship with him. Why are you breaking up with me? Lucien inquired, pounding the locker, preventing me from getting things for my next class. Because you hurt everybody. I cannot deal with this crap anymore, Lucien, I yelled at him, fed up with the physical pounding on my locker causing everything to move, and my papers that were held by magnets tumbled to the ground. I didn't have time to deal with Lucien, much less the mess he was creating with the fists against my locker. So you think my love for you was crap? Oh, I see it now. You hate me, don't you? His face was turning bright red of a sun-kissed tomato on the vine. His elevated blood pressure was evident by his flared nostrils and clenched jaw. I gathered the fallen papers and shoved them in my locker. My love for you is gone. Last weekend, you tried to bite me for my blood. If you loved me, you would have never resorted to feeding off me. I am more than just feeding. So yes, it is crap. That is, your love is. I screamed at him, slamming the door shut, and I pushed past him and sprinted as fast as I could to get away from him and the audience of classmates have gathered to witness the exchange. To be honest, I didn't have any friends I could go to talk to. Actually, I really only had one friend. Her name is Elizabeth. I'm not sure why everyone hated me, but they did. It was never more evident than in the cafeteria during lunch. Liz, thank you for staying with me as a friend. You're the best, I tell her as she's trying to gouge the toxicity of the food surface glop. She stared at her tray, picking the steaming lump, attempting to devise her the contents. You're welcome, girlie. I'm proud of you for breaking up with him, she told me, smiling like her usual self. We chatted about nothing in particular. I noticed someone across the cafeteria every time I glanced in his direction. He seemed to be creeping closer to Liz and I. He was by himself. I'd never seen him before. Where did he come from? And suddenly he was standing at the end of the table where Liz and I was sitting. Hi there, I said, more of a question than a greeting. This was awkward. I'm sure my glance communicated all that was more. Hi, I'm sorry, was this seat taken? He asked. His eyes were deep and penetrating. His glance was confident and breathtaking. I felt my heart flutter. Oh no, it's not taken. You can have it, I responded. He smiled and graciously sat down. Neil, how long have you been alive? I asked him when we were getting coffee from this quaint little coffee shop downtown. I had received a letter from a random person telling me that this anonymous person knew Neil and wanted to talk to me about him. Well, I've been a vampire for 3 years. Chapter 2. The Issue. Crystal, over here, Elise said to me, and she was saving our seats at lunch. Thanks, Elise. Where's Constantine? I asked her. Oh, she is getting lunch. She'll be right back, Elise said, digging into her very juicy sandwich. When I started to open my lunch, I saw someone staring at me from across the cafeteria. Did you see that? I asked Elise as she was ravenously eating her lunch. No, she questioned me, looking around. I'll be right back, as I said, walking away from our table. Okay, she replied, shrugging her shoulders. There was someone looking at me, but I had no idea who it could be. I was determined to find out. As I walked to the area where I thought the source was, I felt like a tug into a different direction. I hesitated to follow my instinct, but I was being pulled outside. Let go of me, I yelled, but no one could hear me. Then I felt this gut-wrenching pain in my neck. I had no idea what was happening. My body froze, and I felt like I was going to pass out. Eat this, a random person that I didn't know was there was pushing his wrist towards my mouth. It actually smelled good. I'm not sure why I followed his direction, but I brought his wrist to my mouth. I dove my teeth into his wrist. After I had my fill, it felt like I fainted again. But this time, I couldn't stop myself. No one was there to catch me when I passed out and fell to the cold, hard pavement behind school. Beep, beep, beep was all I could hear as I started to wake up. Crystal, you're awake! It sounded like a child's voice running towards me. How did I get here? Where am I? Thoughts flooded my head as I was looking around trying to figure out what was going on. Crystal! Valentina exclaimed, running past my brother to me. What happened? I asked her where I was. You were found in the back of the school, totally passed out. A student found you and called an ambulance. Now you're in the hospital, she said to me, tears welling in her eyes. You were given blood because you lost a whole bunch, Alexander, my stepbrother, said to me, walking up, giving me a hug and holding Mom's hand after. Suddenly, a rush of memories flooded my head. Is the student here? I want to say thank you, I asked him, not wanting to tell him what had happened. Yes, he is. Let me go get him, Alexander said, getting up and leaving the room. So it wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream that I was bitten and changed into a vampire. Here he is, Crystal, Alexander said. Mom, I'm hungry. Can I eat privately with my student? I asked her because I wanted to be mine myself and I wanted to find out more information on what had happened. Sure, darling. Anything you want? She said, grabbing my brother and my sleeping sister in the chair. Hi there, he said to me, sitting in the chair. Thank you so much for finding me, I said to him. Oh, my name is Ambrose Valak, he told me, shaking my hand. Crystal Ciata, I said to him. "Are you hungry? I brought you something," he said, pulling something out of his pocket. "Here you go," he told me. He handed me a plastic container that looked like a cupcake inside. It smelled amazing.